Hey guys, Happy New Year. Working on old cars can be a lot of fun, but it can also be overwhelming, especially when you start a project that's going to take a lot of work. Like this 72 right here. This thing needs a ton of work. It's got a bunch of rust, the engine's locked up, it's a four-door, it needs a lot of attention. It can be an overwhelming project to get a project car and stay interested in it. So, you know, a lot of people, and I've talked about this in other videos, a lot of people get a project car home. First thing they do is blow it all apart, and they get overwhelmed by where to start, how much money to spend on it, anything like that. And that takes all the fun out of the project for a lot of people. The car ends up staying apart, it gets sold off later, or it just sits there and further decays. They sell parts out of it, stuff like that. I've talked about that in other videos, and it's very common. There's a lot of halfway finished projects for sale that you can get for decent money, and a lot of times they've already spent a bunch of money on it, or they just spent a bunch of time and effort on it and really made the car worse because they cut out a bunch of stuff and a bunch of stuff's missing. They don't know how it goes. Now, with it being so easy to lose motivation, I have some advice for you. Do little things to make the car better right away as soon as you get it. Instead of blowing it all apart, see if you can get the engine running, see if you can get the engine unstuck, see if you can get the lights to work, little stuff like that. Little bitty milestones, do little things. Maybe go to a car show, see other people working on their cars. Maybe watch a YouTube video, see other people doing stuff to their cars. That will keep your mind thinking about your car. And if you do one little thing at a time, progress is progress. It's going to slowly come together. Make it look good. Throw some wheels on there. If you've already got the wheels, if you already got the stance, mock it up to try to get the car looking pretty cool just from the outside. Maybe throw some cheap primer or something on it just to get it all one color. Little things like that can make a giant difference in motivation for your project car. Sometimes just cleaning up your parts and your project cars, just kind of getting everything organized and set aside and put in some kind of order will help you keep your motivation. Just taking something like this, cleaning all the parts off of it, cleaning all the leaves and stuff out of it, jacking up, looking at the bottom, making a list of what you need. Sometimes that can be overwhelming because you realize how much money you're about to spend, or you realize how much work you're going to have to do. But a lot of times that will help you start planning your project out, especially if you start something in as bad a shape as this 72 right here. Or if you're like me, you might walk around and look at all your parts and see how complete of a car you could put together just using the stuff you've got. Now, you might not be able to get a running car together, but if you could get the outline of a car, maybe get the fenders and a bumper or two, or inner fenders bolted in, and see how complete you have, that might help your motivation also. This could also be a problem, because sometimes you realize you're in over your head. And to that I say, learn how to do it. It's nice to be able to pay someone else to do all of your work for you, but then you're really not a hot rod builder or a car builder. You're just a car guy, and that's nothing wrong with that. It's not for everyone. But at the same time, you can look at a project and tackle all the stuff you can do and then farm the rest of it out, and then you've at least built part of it. Now, this 72, trunk's rusted out, the tail lights panel's rusted out, the deck filler's rusted out, the floor's rusted out, the firewall's rusted out, and yeah, there's a lot of rust on this thing. A-pillars are rusted. It's a future project, so watch out for this one. But it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be hard to stay motivated working on such a big project. Now, I've got several cars, and not just Novas. I've got my 52 Ford truck. I've got a 53 Ford truck that's not even here yet. I've got another Nova that's in a storage place where this one was being kept. It's not home yet. So I've got a ton of stuff to work on, a ton of projects, and who knows how much time it's going to take to fix all that stuff. So one way I keep motivated is I watch videos on YouTube, watch other people work on stuff, and then I want to go out here and work on my junk. I go to car shows, I go to drag races, I go to whatever I can do to kind of keep my mind interested in the project. It's not always easy, especially when you don't have money to spend what you need to spend right then to do what you want to do right then. But it is easy to keep working on the car, most of the time. Now, I got started on this 69, and I got the driver's side metal all patched in, and I got my old deck filler cut out, and then I started working on the passenger side, and I got bored. So then I jumped to the trunk pan and the taillight panel. That's very easy to do, is get bored and have to move on to something else. So I moved on to something else. It's going to take a little less time. Well, I ain't a little less time. It's a little less aggravating. How about that? Then you move on to something else, like building an engine or taking apart a transmission that you have no idea how you're going to put that together. I got it. I figured it out. And that video is coming up soon. But try to stay motivated, because there's nothing quite like finishing a part of the car or finishing the whole car, the whole project, getting it running, hearing it crank up for the first time, seeing the lights come on for the first time after you put a new wiring harness in. There's a lot of things that can go wrong when you're working on these old cars. And a lot of stuff is not going to fit. You're going to have the wrong part. You're not going to know what to do next. You're not going to know how to fix it. And really, a lot of times, that's the difference between an amateur and a professional. A professional knows what to do when stuff doesn't work the right way. A lot of this stuff is bolt-on. It's super, super easy to just bolt it on and go. A lot of this stuff is kind of bolt-on. You bolt it on, and if it doesn't fit, well, it fit your buddy's car. It fit the guy on the YouTube's car. But it doesn't fit your car. Why not? Trying to figure that stuff out can be super aggravating and make you want to walk away from a project. I'm here to tell you, you can do this. You can put these cars together. You can work on this stuff. You can fabricate. You can do all of this stuff. You don't need a bunch of fancy tools. You just need tools. And sometimes I use some fancy stuff. I've got a nice motorized bead roller. I haven't used that much in my videos, but I have used it a bunch. And, you know, that kind of stuff can spoil you. But at the same time, just elbow grease and kind of ingenuity sometimes can help. Instead of hot tanking this thing, I just took a wire brush on a drill and cleaned most of this. Carburetor cleaner, a whole lot of degreaser. I pressure washed it the best I could, and then a whole lot of hand work getting in there, and I've still got a lot to do on this. A whole lot of hand work getting in there with Scotch-Brite to clean up the stuff that you don't have to worry about damaging. So a lot of things like that. Sometimes a vise makes a good sheet metal brake. You can bend stuff over, heat it up, bend it. Welders are pretty cheap now. You can go to Harbor Freight and get a welder. Is it a Miller? No. Is it a Lincoln? No. But it's a pretty good welder, especially for a beginner. You know, there's a lot of things you can do on these old cars that doesn't require special tools. It just requires a little bit of ingenuity, a little bit of imagination, and a whole lot of work sometimes. So my challenge to you for 2022 is to get your car worked on. Don't get it done. Try to get it done. But if you don't get it done, it's okay. Just make progress. A little bit here and there. Put in one patch panel here, put in one patch panel there, then go do something else. Start laying out your electrical. Start planning out a list of parts you want. That list will probably change because a lot of times as we're building cars, what we want to do with it changes, especially if it takes a long time to build the car. What's popular right now or what you wanted to do right now before you buy those parts, or maybe even after you buy the parts, you see something that someone else has done and, oh, now that's what I want to do. That happens to all of us. But, you know, try to stay involved in the car. Try to work on it as much as you can. A little bit of progress goes a long way towards your motivation. Like I said, throw some wheels on there. Throw some cheap primer on it to kind of see how it's going to look. Stuff like that, it's not too hard to undo. You know, raise or lower the back end. Stick some wood under it to try to get the stance that you want. There's a lot of things you can do to kind of make the car more interesting to you right now, even if it's blown most of the way apart like this one is. Now I've got a ton of videos planned already for this year. I'm going to finish up this Budget Nova that I got sidetracked on when I started having some health issues. Feeling great now, so not worried about that anymore. I'm working on another video that's going to talk about some car magazine stuff that's pretty cool, I hope. And anyway, got a good thing planned for 2022. I'm right at 5,000 subscribers. I'm going to figure out something to do when I hit that. I'll probably hit that in the next day or two from when this video is being filmed. So yeah, got a lot of things planned, got a lot of good things I hope that's going to really, really excite you guys. I'm excited about it, so you should be too. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave me a comment. Have a happy new year.